Well, hello and welcome back. This is part one of the Enterprise D Trekworks Boyd Crompton build, and I'm just looking at the engines right now. I just started making these little pieces to fit in the engine here to hold my lights for the Bussard collectors. So I made those, and I just pre-drilled some tiny holes to draw a 5mm hole. I think I'm going to go with two 5mm. But I used thick styrene, and I'm going to have to hit this black, but I wanted to get these in and I can glue them in. And then we got to hit the insides of this light block it. Yeah, I was thinking about also trying to light through this, which you kinda can see there. If I did a lot of light and I could get through some of these windows, they would be dim, which would kind of be okay for this scale of ship. Its windows wouldn't be ultra bright for this scale. And you can get it on the bottom saucer, but then I didn't really take the time to look at the lower hull. It's thicker plastic. You can't get anything through that. You see the little light bleeding through where they have notches for the different here they have, depending on what how you're going to mount it, you got two different choices. If this is going to be, I believe, separated, where the drive section is separated from the saucer, you use this back one, because that's where it's going to be balanced, just this part alone. But if you're using the saucer, you have to move the point up front, because you got this heavy saucer out front. So you can see the light through that, which we're not going to use those. I'm going to use a rod. We're going to come straight down. This one's going to be a full built, but we'll do a rod right there. And the other fun thing about these engines is it's not like you could just put them together and then paint them, because the whole back half depends on the clear parts. So we're going to have to mask all this. So I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to drill holes anyway. And if I'm going to have to drill holes in this bottom, I don't think it would look right with these being kind of a grayish blue tint coming through, and these be totally bright and different, unless I could find a way to dim them down. And I was debating, do I just run white lights in here and paint the clear parts, with some transparent red and blue? But I'm also a big fan of, like, the Bussards. When they're not on, it really gets its color from what's glowing in there, what's going on. So the rest of it should really be clear. So I'm going to leave it clear. I'll try to get in here and scuff the inside with some Scotch-Brite. And I'm going to go with the colored bulbs. I'm just going to have to be really careful with the sorry about my finger. I'm going to have to be really careful with the light blocking and light bleed. Make sure no red gets in here, no blue gets in there. So I figured I'd get these drilled out and get them in there, glued down at least one half, and then we'll spray the insides of these black. And even here we have to hit black, which you might, even in there where this clear part will sit. Trying to do this one-handed, and where that'll sit, we'll have to hit that black, but then I'm going to have to come back, and I haven't decided on my main base color yet. But I don't think I want to see that being black. But we do have to light block it, because it shines, all that shines through. So we gotta make sure we do that. Even if I go with a close gray that I want to do, that way I can get this all glued together. At least these nacelles together. I gotta decide on where I'm coming up with the trenches. I think I'm going to just follow this here, this trench right there, and then here we'll just etch right into the plastic, and then that way I can drill the holes in this for the wires to come up in. And I think we'll be fine. If not, I'll run one single one on that trench there. That way I don't get into this stuff and have to rescribe. Yeah. So I got a lot of research to do. Find out exactly where the flashers are. I think they're towards the back here. This is the... I don't know if they're top and bottom or just one. I know I seen it on the top. Like right here. But we'll have to do a little more research. Okay. I decided to build all three of these kind of at the same time. I mean, we're going to be focusing on the tribute build for Boyd, but since I'm already going to be in Enterprise D research mode, or at least as far as Boyd's, it's going to just be a Galaxy Class Starship. It's going to be, you know, dedicated to him, so it's going to be special and stuff. Where the other two are going to be the Enterprise D in different modes. Well, actually, the lower hull here is actually the one that's going to be standalone, the drive deck. So that's why I have that drilled back, because its balance point is going to be here. But for like this one here, they give you two like areas. This is for if you're going to have the saucer separate. So you want your balance point here, but if you have the big saucer weighing out here, they have it notched out and you cut that out for the stand there. That way it gives you your balance more there with the dish sitting like that. So this one's going to be for this one's actually for Boyd's build, even though those are his engines. I just wanted to sit them on there and look at them. So this one here, but I don't know if I want to drill way out here. The other kit, which is the repop, which this one's going to be nice because it's the transparent white. It's like a milky white instead of clear, which is kind of nice because you can kind of see your detail as you're working. The other one, the other style that was completely clear, it was kind of like you didn't really see your detail until you actually got a primer on it. But they drilled their hole because they have their normal polar lights, round 2 dome base, and they gave you a rod, and at least they gave you a rod that's hollow, which is nice. But they already have theirs way out here, but since they're using a tiny rod, and that's what I'll be using, it's going to be okay way out here, because it's not so obstructive, especially with where you got the phaser rail there. But I'm going to probably be using a slightly bigger rod, so I might move it back here somewhere. So back there is about right in front of these pegs, which I have no idea what they're for. But I'm thinking somewhere in here, and we got to kind of figure out center here. I think if we center, let's go like this. That's saying 25 millimeters, so that's going to be what, 12 and a half? So 12 and a half. I gotta get a new battery in here. Or I can even go off of... It's hard because I have no reference the way the shape of this ship is. You might have to just kind of wing it. Do I have a little straight edge? Let's get a marker. Or do I have a little... something I can use as a straight edge? I don't know if this... here would get me in there. So I can go off this little point. Yeah, let's try this. Measure this. Alright, so I made a little mark. That's what I love about the caliper. You can scratch a little mark. And I line these two up. That should be center. There's like a little T there, so I'm using that as center. And then I made a little center scratch there. And if I line those 2 points up, I should be able to draw a center mark. Roughly there. There we go. Yeah. And then I can choose where, but I'm thinking just behind this array. I don't know if I want it right there, like a rod's right by that deflector dish. I'm gonna put it back here. I actually looked on Boyd's, and he had his back here as well, even with the saucer, which is okay to do if you're not using that plastic stand that they give you on the older kits, where it's just like a little plastic stand. It only clips kind of in there. But he did the same thing where his is bolted in, so that gives you stability to be, you know, any of the forces of it wanting to tip down. And mine's going to be, you know, strengthened by these threaded buttons or rivets, which I love. Because then I just get brass tubing and I either thread it, or sometimes you can just stick it in there and epoxy it if you want it to tilt in different ways. So that's what we'll do. I'm setting this down because there's a flange and I don't want to get too close that my flange is riding over that phaser bump. So that's why I'm going to do this, and kind of gives me an idea. We can cheat up a little more of where I want this. That way, hopefully, when I drill that through, this will sit like that, but not ride up on that phaser. So let's go right there. Just get a pilot hole here so that this doesn't walk. There we go. That's one thing I do like about the step drills. They drill a nice clean hole in plastic. And this is going to be a nice tight fit. Yeah. Is that it? There we go. Oh, that fits nice and snug. And there, now we're behind this phaser beam. But when it sits on its base, you don't have this rod like right up to that dish. So I like that better. So this stuff technically should be on here. This is the one we're building. This is the engineer drive we're building for Boyd. This one here is going to be for the one that sets just the drive section. And then this one here is going to be another full-on Enterprise D. Alright. So So we got those going. And you can put these in either way. You can even do that and have a post sitting out like that. I kind of like it where it's... And in that way you don't have such a flange sticking out, and then you can put your pipe in that way, threaded in. But I kind of like them like this. All we did here, and then I got to do it with these guys and the Milky White set. There's that disc we made with the styrene, which will give us a light blocking, because I'm going to put red lights and blue lights, because I want the clear parts actually be clear like that. That's what I'm shooting for. Now, on these, I believe Galaxy Class Starships, the nav lights don't flash. I don't know. I'm on the fence of, like, I try to keep some type of consistency and come up with a thing and just travel it on. I'm not always looking to be so, canon, because things have changed from different, shows. Like, okay, you got the original TOS and the way they had its stuff flash, and then you got into the motion pictures. But then you go back, okay, then the NX1 has strobing and flashing, where the original TOS Enterprise, any white lights and the green and red nav lights, they all went together, except for the two side lights on the engineering hall. This, they're supposed to be all standing still except for a couple flashers. The NX1, the red and green nabs go different than the white flashers. Everyone's all different. I'm coming to the point of where, since the early ones, the red and greens pulsed. They're not like a blink, but they pulsed on and off. I'm making all of mine do that. There should be some type of consistency, and that's just because of the different shows. You have different, design teams, and they're not always looking back and saying, oh, those lights flash, and and then you get into the CGIs and all that stuff. So you got different people making up the shows and don't always follow, okay, did those ships, when they're working on their new ship for the new show, they're not always looking back and saying, oh yeah, that's what those lights did. But me personally, I'm going to make it consistent with my model kits. I'm not worried about Canon. There's enough Canon models out there. I want them to fit the realm, but I'm going to make little consistencies in my model kits, especially since I'm doing a whole bunch of the Enterprises from the NX1 all the way up to the E. I believe the E's were steady on as well. But alright, yeah, I figured since I'm already in Enterprise mode, I might as well build all three together. This build series is really going to be focusing on the tribute build, because they're all going to be the same, but we'll show you the differences between the others as we go. I'll show you any differences that I'm doing between them, but we're mainly going to be focusing on the tribute build. And I also got to think of power wise, because I'm going to run the LED strip up in here on the top. That way, you're always going to be looking down. That way you don't see any hot spots. I mean, I'm going to frost the clear plastic on the inside anyway. And then it's going to get the copper color on the outside. So that should help that too. But I was thinking about running these in series, which would equal 6 volts. And then we have 9. No, that's fine, because it'll see 9 volts coming through, because we want a jumper. from that to that. So that should still work fine. No problem with that. We'll put the LED strip here. We'll attach the main feed here. And then we'll run a jumper to these two. And that would work fine. And then the strobe itself is going to have its own feed. It's going to strobe. And also with the strobe, a lot of people, or even what we're going to do with that, I don't want a big 3mm bulb. And I don't have anything smaller than that sticking out of the top of this nacelle. I think it looks too big and too bulky. So we always keep extra parts from other kits. I have a junk bin of stuff, and it has a whole bunch of refit windows and yada yada, where they just give you a bunch of extra windows. It could be from the toss too. Let's see, like these here are clear parts with little nubs that stick up through. That's a nice size. So what I can do is just drill holes so that clear part will pop up through. And I'll just put a little SMD LED below it. And it'll glow that little piece of plastic. There's like 3 little nubs. So I can use for 3 of this little piece here, I can use for 3 nacelles. And that's the other thing. I don't know if it has the flashers on top and bottom. I think it's just the top. I'll have to research that. But yeah, I can just cut this into 3 little parts. It'll give you a little flat bottom. We'll stick that through. Then I only have this little tiny hole window clear part popping up. And not a 3mm bulb or whatever and whatnot. But that's why I keep all these little parts, especially window parts, that are like single porthole size stuff. So that'll make that look right in scale. I think what I'm going to do here is just hit these in silver, because you're never really, it doesn't have to be the gray, but I don't want it to be the black, because you can see the black a little bit. But I think I do a little silver, and that'll help things bounce around. Or just pick a gray, because I haven't come up with what hull color I want yet. I'm just looking to see what ones came in my light kits. There's the blue LED. Did he give me high density? Yeah. Yep. But I got my own. We'll keep that for the other set. But I gotta get those out there. I gotta build the other 2 kits. I gotta build these pieces. And then he just has them laying in there. And then hot glued. But I like, since I am going to use colored bulbs, I like having that little bit of buffer between the 2 shades of color. Otherwise, I would do a white and then just color the plastic, and then you don't have to worry about light bleeding between them. But I kind of like this. It keeps the bulbs up better. And then I can hit the back of the LED with some black, or black tulip will really help block the red from going back there and making purple. Yeah, I will use my high density because it gives me smaller slivers. These are in like doubles, where my high density gives me smaller segments. Each one of these segments is 3 lights, but the high density gives you like, it'll split there. And I just need, it ends there, but I'd love to have a little more up here where that part is. So yeah, these aren't going to work. That's okay. And this will give us probably the better, because then I can get LEDs right there to right there. That's perfect. I think she's going to be real bright, but that's what we want as far as length. And that's also why, like Boyd, I always run stuff in 9 volts. I think it's the most comfortable and more accurate as far as it not being too bright. And then from there, on strip tape you can't, because the resistor's already in it, but for your regular bulbs you can actually change the brightness a little bit just by, using a higher resistor. And that works much easier with 9 volts. So that's one thing I do agree with Boyd. I run all my models at 9. 12 I think is just too harsh. It ends up you're more just toning everything down. So and this tape here has a pretty good backing on it, but still, you just never trust it. I think that'll do it. And then we'll come back and secure them down. You can use hot glue if you want to as well. But then that glows down, and that should be nice then. You can even stick some like fiber fill in here to muddy it up, but I think yeah, I gotta look at these. Can you? Oh boy, that's tough. Try to get in here with some steel wool and frost these up. Scratch them up. Of course, they had to make them, instead of them just being flat, they're kind of curled, so I got a channel in there I'm going to have to try to get into. That's alright. Always a challenge round 2. Well, I think these were designed before them. I'm not sure. Alright, let me get this other one in. But even there, peeling that off, I can actually peel the sticky stuff off of the white. And that's what always has been my concern. And one thing I'm forgetting to do that you always want to do is make sure they actually work. And one thing it's going to be always is I'm going to have the things. There we go. That one works. I'll always have the probes the opposite way I need them. Like the positive is on this side, now I'll have it the opposite. And boy, one thing I should have checked were these. So we might have to. Excuse me. I don't know why my throat. There's something sitting there and it's just not going away. One thing I forgot to do is where we're going to put that little strobe. I might have to cheat these a little forward, which is fine. They could cheat a little more forward. Okay, so we found out our locations, but yeah, I have to move these. And it looks like they're going to fall about right in the center of this detail. Where's the top piece? There's one top piece. Oh, here it is. Because it's kind of falling right where these little mold releases are. Oh, is this the angled one? I don't know if I want the angled one. But I think if I go in the center of those, that's where we want to be. That makes the most sense. There we go. Now let's find one of those that aren't an angled one. That's an angled one. There we go. Let's use this. And plus, them having a flat bottom should help them sit down in there. Or, help them with something to glue. Clear plastic is very brittle, so you gotta be careful. Let's see if that'll stick in there. And I probably have to hit that hole with black. Oh, that's so much nicer. Yeah, and then it sits. Oh, and it's even It's just peeking up just a hair. That's what we want. It's pretty much flush, but peeking just a hair. But we definitely want to stick a little black in the hole there. That's why usually I like to draw all the holes before I light block, and then that hits all that. But yeah, if we stick that like there and just put a little SMD there, we should be golden. And we'll have to do a little SMD because the chiller grills go all the way around on this ship. So we can't, like, if it just had chiller grills here, I could probably light block here and just have a white light take care of both of them. Since they're just right on top of one another. You could just have probably had one bulb back here flash that hole. But since we have another color light going on in here, we need to light block all that. So we'll stick a SMD on there, and then we'll hit it with tulip. Just so that it doesn't, we don't get a flashing out here through the grills, and this doesn't just turn blue when it's in between the flashes either. So, but that's how we'll handle all that, and that works great. So we'll do the same on all of them, and that falls, yeah. Yep. Here, since I got all of them out, I'm just doing all 4 of these. I'm going to have to do the other kits as well. Boy, today this plastic just wants to do the old make a corkscrew instead of a... Alright, this one I got to pull the LED tape back off, which like I had to do on this one. But now we have a visual. Hopefully this doesn't push it way out. That just makes it. Look at that. It's right at the end. Our strobe's going to have its own power. These strobes. But we're going to jumper off one of these to the bulbs, since they're constant. There we go. There's a set. If everything goes right, I should be able to just push this one all the way up to the top there too. Oh. See, this is what I'm saying. See, there it left a little adhesive right there. That's how easy it can come apart. And that's definitely not what you want. Like even there it started peeling off. It's definitely not what you want to happen when your ship's all glued together. Now what's next? We need the red bulbs. And I got to do all the same for the other 2. We're gonna have to buy more. Well, those kits that Gary gave me come with light bulbs too, so it's not a big deal. But I still think I can run these in series. They're going to be resistor for 9 volts. That's going to come off of these, and then I'll run them in series. That way I don't have to run 2 power feeds. It's just going to be easier for wiring, is what I think. Because then I can attach. You got to make sure you have these oriented right. The long one is the positive. I can So the one I'll have feed power coming through, coming out this negative to that positive, and then it's just one continuous loop, and I can just connect this negative to that positive. I can just hardwire it. We can just bend them together and solder them. Then I only have to solder wires to those two. We're gonna have to. This is ridiculous. There we go. I'm having to use a heck of a lot of pressure just to get those. Well, while I got it down, let's tack some of these areas. And I just put a little light tack here and there. You can even go all the way across it if you get a channel that there's no component in the way. But a lot of times you can just tack a corner. Alright, next, I guess would be to get the rest of these cut. And drop all those in. And we'll use canopy glue for those. I mean, we could use CA because it doesn't really matter if it frosts the plastic. It's a white light anyway. And it's a tiny little circle. Or even regular model cement. Because we don't really have to worry about, I might even scuff the bottoms anyway to get them to not be so clear. Yeah, so we'll just, I gotta clean this point. I wonder if I can get the needle out of the other one. This needle's not, it's clogged. I don't know how to unclog those needles. This one. Oh, this one doesn't. Oh, there's its needle. This came with the stick that one in there. Will it work? Yep. Let's see if we can get some glue out of this. Yep. Yeah, because I'm not really worried about if it fogs these windows up. Sweet. Yeah, I don't know if I can soak that needle in some acetone, if that would help loosen it up. This needle doesn't want to come out of this. When I pull the cap off. And we just need one more. Save the other. Because we're going to need quite a few more for the other ships. Do you have 8 more? Hopefully I have 8 more. Well, I could always go into, I have the Enterprise A. I can always see what extra windows I have in from the A. But whatever. Let's see if we can bend some tabs over. Should get my gun heating up if we're going to do that. Or we're going to be waiting on that too. There we go, and then we'll just solder that right at the X, and then we'll cut the excess off. Then it'll loop through, boom, boom. And a lot of times, what I like to do is mark my positive, because we end up cutting them and then you don't see the different lengths. Go, and then as soon as we have a hot gun here. Alright, gun's hot. That's all there is to it. Now, let's cut those extra parts off. Try to look a little cleaner in here. You can even hit that with shrink tube before. Alright, we should probably test these. Now, we don't have a resistor on them, so we can't throw 9 volts in them. They want to see 3, but they're in series, so I should be able to go 6 and be okay. And not blow anything up, I hope. We have power, we have it going there. And hopefully we have it going in here. They're both lighting, so that's a good sign. There's warm white, there's cool white, and cool white. So we're getting down on the warm whites. Is these a smaller? No, they're the same size. There we go. Consistent here. Alright, well, let's see. There we go. We'll just do it that way. Save all those. They work good for jumpers anyway, so I would anyway, but I think they're going to work good for our trench. One, two. 3. And 4. Now, these are going to have to be super glued on. Here we go. I'm dreading the super glue. Slow at getting down there. Like I said, if I can come up with a thing, I should 3D print something that can hold the bottles like this. I can just keep putting the lid back on. But then when I got to use it multiple times, I don't have to sit here and like I want to do at least 2 at a time. But it's also super glue, which is going to want to cure faster. It will want to cure fast now because I need time to get them in position. Hurry up and get the other one. Make sure they're facing down. As close as possible to the... Well, that's the way we could check. It's just to shine it up and make sure we're centered in the light we see coming through. Again, that seemed to work to do that. You're tilting. There you go. That looks good. And that looks good. There we go. What does it say these red 5 mils are? I like that they give you a voltage. 2 to 2.2, so we'll go off to 2.2. Or 2. That way it keeps it probably won't be any different as far as what resistor I can use. But I gotta use my phone calculator because I don't feel like doing it in my head. Okay, I got that resistor on. We'll do the same with this one. Lift it up, try to get this in here. Do the old twist around. And then cut this excess off so I can slide it down further. Maybe. There you go. There you go. That'll work. Alright. I got that. We'll cut this excess off here. Don't worry, those are my old clippers. For my, what I call my electrical or big Hawkins sprues. They're so chewed up, I just keep grinding them sharp again. I got my good pair here, even though I used it for those tiny wires, but they're so tiny I could probably, you can actually break them just by pulling them. Alright, let's give this a test. I set that back to 9 volts, because that's what it's going to get. And I got a little weak signal on this one LED, and it's kind of making me, Let's look at these. Yeah, because that's normal. I don't know if you can see this on camera. Let's do this. It's going to get dark-ish. Yeah, there I got 2 really strong ones. Here I do not. So I'm wondering if I have a cold solder joint there. Let's hopefully see if it's that. Let's see if we can. Trying to get underneath there. Because even a cold solder joint can cause something like that. Let's see if that fixed it. Nope. So we got a funky LED there. I think it's a bad LED. Which would be the first time out of that batch. Yeah, because that one's working. But in order to run the 1, I gotta go down to 3. And we might have to pull that LED out. This is why you always test, but I should have tested before I even glued them. I'm getting nothing now. Yeah, you're out of here. There we go. It's just puzzling me. That should be the... You can't ruin them by running them backwards. They just won't power. But I got nothing out of it now. Oh well. Grab another. Alright, you know that one's working. That might be wise. I hit it with 3 volts and it's supposed to be 2. But I've done that before in such a small increment. It was never really that. It would just glow really bright and it wouldn't last very long. If I like, well, maybe, I don't know. Each lights are sensitive. But it didn't pop, it just, I'm going to assume that's what happened. Okay, got that swapped out. Sorry the camera died. And it's going to do it again, but I at least wanted to show you that we are firing now. That's better. So, I think that's where I'm going to call it a night. But we're in a good place. Well, just getting the old assembly line action going on. We got the tribute build is going along. Got, like I showed before, we got the resistor and we got the lights down here. Now we're just going to get these other 2 ships in the same area. So got the Bassard lights in on the cells that are going to be for the separate drive section Enterprise. The one with their saucer is separated, and this here is the transparent one. This is going to be the full Enterprise D. So just got the clear plastic parts put in for my flashers, and then we'll go in and I got to get the blue strip in like that and get the Bassard lights in. These 2 I got the little hanger bay things are in, so just doing the old assembly line and trying to remember, keep everything apart, what's what ship. This will be easy because this one here with the back is going to be the one where this is the drive section separate. So that's one way I can tell what's what. Where this one's up forward, and then the clear one will actually have the post for the round 2 dome base style base. And then these are going to be for these 2 ships. So yeah, it's trying to keep everything separated, especially once you start painting them. It's going to be hard to tell, but because that now almost looks not much different than those parts. So trying to label things to keep them separate. Not that this matters, because this parts don't need to be transparent, but these will. So I'll have to make sure these don't get mixed up. But what else are we doing? Basically where I'm at, just getting everything in the same spot, light blocked. This one's definitely, I had to do another coat of black to make sure it's light blocked, because it is a transparent kit. And yeah, we're going to keep trucking, getting everybody kind of moving at the same pace. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to show you. I found a free on, I think it's Colts 3D. This is a part of a Borg diorama they had, and it was free. So go check it out. It's not 100% accurate, but it gives me that weird domain. And this is only 1 out of 4. And I sized it up. I went up to 150% to make it bigger, a little thicker, so it'll work for a base for the one that's going to be separated, where the saucer is going to be separated. So we'll have this kind of flying off the one way and the saucer flying off the other way, kind of to emulate that, when they first run into the Borg. And probably I think the pilot, they had the saucer separation, where Captain Picard was kind of testing Riker on if he could actually separate it and get it to connect again. But I have a whole lot of sprues, because I believe that's how they made the original Borg ship, was just sprues, packed on top of each other. But this gives me that good basis, and it gives me a good rim, base style, rim to it. And then I'm going to put some sprue parts over top to give a little more dimension and a little more realism to what we saw on the Next Generation TV series. But yeah, there'll be 4 of them. It's printing tile. This is tile 1. And right now it's printing tile 2. And then we'll have 3 and 4. So it's going to probably be about yay by yay. So that's going to, I think, be a nice size for these guys to sit as a base. And then I did it in white because you can kind of get light through it, and we'll get some type of lighting on here to get it to glow green. And hopefully I can get it just to glow green in the channels, probably so, because that's going to be the thinnest part of the base. And the light's glowing through pretty good. So that'll be a kind of a challenge, because I think the Borg ship's a dark color, almost a black, if it's not a black, or a metallic kind of black. So it's going to be trying to get it dark enough, but thin enough dark enough to cover the white, but thin enough that it should still glow through. And I think if we get enough light under here, it'll give us a good glow through. And I can always spray at angles so it more hits the high pieces and darkens them. But if we have a little even glows through there, the Borg ship's very weird looking when it glows. But I think that's going to work. That's exactly what I was looking for. And then I'll add some greeblies and actual sprue piping to make it more accurate. Get some good pictures of it and try to make it more accurate, and maybe have more hot spot lighting and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a good find, especially for free. Boy, I tell you what, the injection mold, parts on these kits are crazy big. So I've been going through and getting rid of them. They're probably not crucial and in the way. I think for the ones I got to drill holes for, they will be in some spots. This part here probably is not a big deal, because these are all up here, and there's not really, I believe, any windows in those areas. But like on the lower hull here, you had these 2 here, and you got windows all in that area, so that would make fun for drilling. I'm going to drill through. It looks like this. This is what they looked prior, and they didn't change anything on the new molds. Same tooling. The only thing they did different is add that mounting post. But yeah, that's That's extreme. I mean, that part there is thick. So I've been going through and getting rid of those just to make it cleaner, especially if I'm running wires, and then when it comes definitely in like these areas here where there's windows. That's right where a window would, all this cluster of windows. So I'm going through and getting rid of all that stuff. There I did a window drilling test and it worked actually pretty good. So we might fare out pretty okay. Just a long process. Same thing on this. These were really bad. I mean, you got them. These were huge back here, and you have them in this other area, which seems to be out of window area, maybe hitting those there. But you had these here. That's right there. So I'm grinding all of them out. I'll have to hit it on this base as well. I just like to clean them up. There's some on, as you can see, and in the cells. There's not a lot of wiring or anything, so I'm okay leaving them there. I just like a clean inside, just like my outside. And if it's going to obstruct anything, you know, I mean, I'm going to clean them up because they might even, you know, mess with the transparency. So, but all I'm doing is taking the drum tool and just, they grind off pretty easy. Especially the smaller ones. You get ones that are thick. Like this has a thick bottom edge. Right there. And for something like that, it only takes a second just to clean that out, and then I can just lightly scuff it. And then with these, when I go to do the light blocking paint, it's going to be more, it's going to block better because you're not going to have this ring, especially on the insides, you know, like when you light block stuff and you hold it up sometimes where you have detail that's poking out, the paint doesn't get in there. So that's going to make that a lot better too. Because these we do have to light block black on the insides. This on this clear case is probably more of just, I want the light that have to shine through the same thickness of plastic and having these thick, especially this one end, you can see it's not even, here you can still see like a circle where it was hollow in center. Here this was almost solid all the way up, you know, halfway through. So that way it assures that I'm getting the same transparency because the plastic's going to be the same thickness throughout. And on the ones I got a light block, I don't have to deal with that, it not getting into those crevices. Because I did have that with these. When you know, you can see it on this one right now. I'm going to have to go through and hand paint. But I'm going to hit these with a white or a silver. I might just go with a silver to bounce the light around. So hopefully that'll help. That usually helps too. That's where sometimes I will use a silver because it actually will help the black light block because it's a little metallic and a little thicker, you know, paint than a white would be. White still can kind of you know, it can still, light can go through white. But that's why I just wanted to show you that. There's a lot of, I don't know if these are the mold release. I think these are, you know, the injection ports, I guess. A lot of times the mold releases and stuff, you'll see it's just a bump where something pushes, you know, puts a little dent. But this looks like where they poured the actual mold into the plastic into the mold. But I got these glued in, so we're all in the same spots. And yeah, I'm going to keep on trucking, cleaning some parts up. Got starting to get the electronics in the clear one, the newer one, and keep on trucking here. Well, I started getting a little ahead of what I wanted to show you some of the stuff as far as the wiring here. compared to the one I already had kind of done. These wires are tediously small, so I didn't want to do them on camera, but it's just a loop through. Brought a positive and negative up to this one and just looped over to here. Just tied them all together right here, really, this one and this one. So they're not running in a series, they're still running parallel. And then light blocked them with some tulip. And that's going to be my strobe circuit, flasher circuit. And then these are 2 wires. These are going to be the steady on main power, which I just soldered to the LED strip that I have on the top half of the cell. And then I got some solder points, and we'll just jumper the positive and negative of these Bassard collector bulbs right from the strip, and it'll get power there. And this way I have little jumpers so I can open it up, or at least it makes it easier for actually putting it together. Here's the other one. It came out good. I want to make sure I got all this before I put it together all scuffed up as much as I want to. I think I do, but I know I have to get the clear parts for this one and scuff them up, because it worked really well on this. I'm extremely happy. Oh, you guys are grabbing on here. Let go. So I'm extremely happy, especially how the Bassard collectors look. I like that down kind of clear look when it's shut off, instead of them looking red all the time. I want, same thing with these. When it's off, I want it to look like it's off. And then this is going to get that gold copper on the blue chiller grills. But yeah, I can show you what it looks like powered up. Where's my little battery? We can actually quickly turn on the... See, there we got our lights working for our flashers, and those little clear... Oh, like I said, always keep the... Especially when it comes with clear parts, and they're just little window pegs for round porthole windows. You always seem to get a couple extra with the refit, and I believe the toss, and the a lot of these I know are from the NX1 350. And even if it's like a tri-port where it's one clear plastic part but it has 3 bumps for 3 windows in those ships, you just cut them. That's what I did with these. Just cut them and drill them the right size and stick them through, and they work so much better than having a bulb sticking up through. That way you can do some diffusion. If you want to scuff the bottom of the clear part before you glue the LED down to it. But these will be flashing. These will be kind of doing that. But they're working, and there's our engine lights. And it came out pretty good all the way around. We're getting good coverage all the way. And I'm not getting blue light coming through here, so we light blocked it okay. We're not getting, those aren't just glowing now, blue. And I did make sure before I even these, I light block them. I'll hold them up to light and have light blasting this way to see if I see any other light reaching besides the actual LED bulb. So yeah, and I'm really happy. I didn't have to put fiber fill or anything in there, just scuffing it like that. Just scuffing it up like that. Works fine. Like, even in the daylight here, it looks a little washed out by my shop light in camera, but even just sitting here, we're getting a good glow. So we're happy. Now, like I said, just 5 more to go, including this one. But we're gonna, as far as like these videos, we're gonna focus on Boyd's build. They're all gonna be pretty much similar, especially when it comes to the other two. Because the other two, I'm gonna do all the photo etch detail. This one, we're gonna pretty much do a straight out of a box build. Yeah, he just kept his simple. I think he was waiting for a photo etch for the trenching. I don't know, and I believe he ended up just puttying it in anyway, and was gonna use the decal, because the decal set that he got has, you know, the detail for that raised part here, where you'll be putting your trenches. It has the detail, so he was just gonna have the decal cover it all. And that's basically what we'll do here. But I'm gonna keep mine nice right in that like in between seam. And these small wires should all fit in there. But for the other two, I do have the trench plates. And that's those. So we can be as rugged and nasty as we want, because that's then you lay that down and that covers all the hiding of the wires. And it's great that I have these phaser things come with it too. Give the phaser some detail instead of them just being long, smooth humps. So, but where I was getting at, I'll jump back and forth on the other builds when it comes to something that's different between the two. Like I'm going to put a little photo etch detail part here. On the nacelles, there's a photo etch detail part that goes there. And I think that's it for the Bassards. But there's a bunch that go on the ship itself. And yeah, I'll say when it comes to getting to those parts, just for those who do have the photo etch and they might want to check it out, or thinking about getting the photo etch set from Green Strawberries, it's great. It gives you 2 sheets. And like I said, I was an idiot and forgot that they give you the Bassard, this part that I made. And you can even put 3 bulbs in them. They give you 3 knockouts. But I'm happy with the 2. It's not overly bright, so I'll get a little red glare on the back of the ship, but it won't be like there's a red spotlight hitting the back of the ship. So yeah, it gives you 2 sheets, plus your instructions. Here's one packaged still. And I really do like how Green Strawberries packages their stuff. It's pretty neat. They stack things in layers and they put cardboard in between so these don't all scratch up. But let's get these engines going. So yeah, when I come to the other ships where I'm adding things like this stuff, I'll show you some of that stuff. But I figure I might as well build all 3 while I'm in Enterprise mode. But then you get to see different ways of approaching it. You know, like even here in the deflector dish. On this one, we'll do our own light blocking and painting and everything. Where here, it comes with this piece, which will light block areas of the deflector dish. And there's the centerpiece, you know, so we get to see both ways, which is neat. And then may help some people out there decide if they want to spend the money on the photo etch, which I would say yes. It's just so much nicer. You know, it even gives you like the grills for on the impulse engines, because that's a clear part. Yep, that's a clear part. So now you only have to worry about light blocking the outer side, and then you can still have that nice grill look when the lights come on, because the grill will give you the detail and light block the red light coming through. But as I digress, let's keep trucking. So where we're at, I think we're just making jumpers from here to here, and then we got to get our clear parts, and then we can start gluing it together. Alright, so we just need short little jumpers. And these are a little, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go with these. These are a little stiffer insulation. This one's not too bad. It has some flexibility. I think I'll just stick with the quick little red and black jumpers from this spool of wire. I like this spool of wire. This came with my the light kits I got. These are the light kits I got. They're just simple light kits. Pretty much just gives you all the bulbs, wiring, resistors, simple flash board. These are from Gary Hughes. And they're great. They're not that expensive. You have to build your flash boards, which is nice. It helps you learn some electronics and stuff. But he gives you everything you need to make a really nice lit kit. And for the price, you can't beat it. So let's measure just a short little jumper. I think the best way to do that would be just to solder on one first. These strippers are great, but you got to make sure your wire is straight. Let's see if we can get these to kind of twist. There we go. Yeah, because if I can get a twist on a wire, I like it. It'll hold together much better. So small, I gotta. How'd we do? Yeah, we did good. Looking for a shrink tube. Or do I want to cover that whole thing? I could do that too, and I think that's a yellow that goes over the whole enchilada. I don't know if I'll be able to shrink down that as well as I want it to. Over the resistor and everything it will. And you can use a lighter. A lot of times I like the heat gun or the solder gun. And then I just squish it. And there we go. So we don't have to worry about anything touching and shorting. Alright. That saves us on one of those. So now we can this doesn't have to be extremely long because it's already open, so it only needs to be right to there. Now the one thing bad about these strippers is trying to get something stripped that's short, because you got all this here to get to the stripping part of it. There we go. Just had just enough space. Alright, I guess we can throw that down real quick. Positive is there. Let's get the negative, and we can do a test. Yeah, I need to look for this wire. It's a single core, solid one. You know, it's not stranular. It's a solid core wire, and it works so much. Let's get a little more because we want to twist. And you got this little gauge here to let your wire hit, so you can judge how much insulation, because you let the wire come through and butt up, hit it, and then that gives you your distance. And you can change that by just flipping it out and moving it. But we want to get a little twist going on here. If we can. Sounds like a wrap or two. There we go. Cut off a little bit of excess. Oh, that was still cooling. It's still cured okay. It looks like I can get away with a red for that one. Yep. Right about there. So shorter is, the less wire we have to cram into the cell, and we don't have to fear that it's going to get into the blocking the light for the chiller grill and stuff like that. But these are lighting pretty good. Now these I have a little longer strip than I have on the other two. The other two are kind of going from here to here. So I'm hoping that this area here still glows good on the other two. Alright. I guess the thing to do is strip this and test. Always test, test, test. Especially before you close up. Your future self, as like Adam would say, when tested, well, thank you. There we go. And we already tested these. These guys are working. The wire's so small that you can't even pick it up. Yep, and they're working. You have to we have to turn them around. But yep. And there we go. And yep, you can. So everything is working in. And that's basically it for that. Now we can put her together. And so now it's time to get some chiller grills ready. Like I said, I think this is okay. I think I hit all that really good. Yeah, and then when it's in there, yeah, I'm happy with that. We just got to get the chiller grills. Yeah, see those impulse parts, and it even gives you a grill for that impulse that's in the drive section. They're clear, so that photo etch will fit in there. We'll just hit black on this outside before we paint it the color it needs to be, and you just stick that photo etch in there, and that'll give you that nice light blocking. But they also give you the piece that covers this outer rim that's not supposed to, this part here is not supposed to glow, just this little inside. And then this is supposed to be covered, so the photo etches will help. Now we'll have to actually light block all that. I think we can just take this whole piece off. I need anything else here? Nope. Just get rid of some of this excess. Nothing on there. Get my sprues brought down to a minimum here. There, those are parts that we need. And those are parts, but none of this we need. Alright. Now, like I said, we don't have to worry about the glue hazing or fogging anything up, because we're hazing and fogging it up on purpose. Like I said, you can use steel wool as well. Scotch-Brite's just a little easier for me, because you can kind of squish it into things. I do have steel wool. I haven't tried steel wool. Yeah, that came out great. The hard part is this curve. I'm getting pretty ratty here. I need to cut some of this really used up parts away. There we go. Yeah, it's hard to get in that little curve because you have no way to, you can't press, so you're gonna kind of work in the, put the bend there, and then you can press down and kind of do that. Since I got a better piece of Scotch-Brite. There, that's all there is to it. Let's see. Oh, sometimes it looks a little weak where these come together, because the channel, there is a channel there and it's really thin there. There we go. Let's make sure this one's good. And that'll help hide any of the wires so you won't see any through. Plus, like, there's going to be the copper on the outside too. Alright, let's be smart and do a dry fit. The other one I kind of had to figure out on its own, because this kind of wants to hug on the outside of the nacelle, and then this has got to go on the inside. So you kind of got like this flip-flop of, you know, the actual body parts going like right down this line, like that. But it has, you know, this long part of the chiller grill, you got the lip edge here, and then here it starts putting a lip edge on this side. So you kind of got to go, what I found is just go in like that and then push those down. And here's where I was losing on the first one. It's like, here you pretty much, your engine grills are pretty much flush with the outside, but as it gets back here, it actually does, and is supposed to. Come back in. And then there's the back edge of the ship nacelles. There is an actual lift. The grill is set back. That I didn't know. So I thought things were going on wrong. Alright. Yeah, that's going to work. Nothing to it but to glue it. Yeah. Let's go with this one I can put here. And we'll try to sneak the other one underneath and then bring the top down. Capri glue. Pick the prettiest part. Capri glue this in. Which I was just running it. There's a little notch there. There's a raised part and a little notch here. And then the rest of it I was just screwing a little bit there. Not too much that you're going to ooze out. And then I'll do it to the other side when we... There we go. And that's that way. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I've said this probably in other videos, I do love this Revell glue with the needle. It works so nice. Like I said, I think it's a little hard from this angle. It's kind of getting that out and then that in. There we go. It goes right in. And then make sure that this grill is pushed forward. And it is. Now can we sneak the other one in and see a little bit of sprue bump there. I want to get rid of it because we don't want anything giving us a fight. Yeah, you can actually see where it whoops away. So it definitely says it's supposed to do that. Alright, now this is going to be the more fun one because we got wires and everything in the way. Probably the best thing to do would be to flip this right over to the other side like that. Hopefully I'm on camera still. I guess I can slow down a little bit and we're not using super glue. I've been working with 3D printing stuff so much. There we go. Now, while we got this side open, and double check, make sure we got everything good. All the wires are in, strobes are working. Alright. And we can wick some glue in with the Tamiya extra thin. Alright. Just pull on those a little bit. Negative does not want to go that way. Go that way. Thank you. Oh, let's get some glue on here. There we go. I don't think that would have been crucial, but that one went together pretty nice. Chiller grill's closed in the back. Yeah, that actually went together. Now that I had the... Uh-oh. No, it didn't. This gotta... That's what I forgot. You gotta make sure this one pulls out and goes around the nacelle, but that's easy to grab. Alright, let's get clamps on it. That's a... Well, this strong one we can immediately put in the center. Boom. Get that. I think that was set up for the chiller grills because I was squeezing the chiller grills here so I don't have any gaps. I'll get one there. I'll get one in the back. And I was using this one with these flipped kind of in that weird way to hold the those parts of the chiller grill to keep them squished. And I think this other one was just sitting right here. Just give another, because that's only squishing that way. And there we go. And we should probably do another light test before it permanently sets up. There we go. And we can even, just to make sure, because as soon as I say, ah, no, it'll be fine. It'll be, ah, no, it won't. And we're prying the nacelle apart. Yep, we got light. Just can't get it on my finger. There we go. How beautiful. Now we can let that sit. And there's our nacelles for the Galaxy Starship.